Come on. Put these to soak and got the water level a little bit too high. It's a warm day, 83. I will miss this in a couple weeks. Heading into this coming week, highs in the 60s, which I think even that is higher than average, but it's not going to be in the 80s anymore. But it's nice to get some of these to-dos. Been on my to-do list all summer. And now that wood is essentially crossed off my list, it feels good to get some of these. Oh, come on. Off of it. Insley threw up her breakfast this morning. All of it. About 11:30. She eats at 7. There shouldn't have been much of it left in her tummy from digestion. And it was pretty much the whole amount that I fed her. Now I'm scared. That tells me there's got to be a blockage. And that means a whole lot of money to diagnose and then correct it. And I have a feeling it's the gopher still hanging out in there. Although this morning when we went out just after 7, she had a bowel movement, and I went and looked at it. Yeah, it's a really sizable one, a normal bowel movement. If she's got a blockage, she wouldn't have been able to have a bowel movement at all. So I got to make an appointment again, take her in hopefully this coming week. Naturally, it's always a weekend that this happens. They're not around. But I'm scared. She seems to be acting mostly okay this afternoon, but she doesn't have the typical piss and vinegar that I've come to enjoy now the last couple weeks. She seems to go in cycles, weekly cycles of dire trouble, depressed, inactive, and then she goes for a few days or a week of just being full of it. Happy dog, run, play. I am trying out an external microphone that I've had on my Canon for ever. I tried using it on this G9 back in April, May of 2021. That's the one I got this camera. Tried it on here. The built-in microphone for cameras is not as good as they could be, or they're not as good as an external mic. Well, this mic is a very good one, and I tried it a couple times and it worked. And then I tried it a third time. My daughter Kinsey came over for supper one night, and I set the camera up to record. The next day when I downloaded the footage, there was no audio. I think I tried it again a couple days later and no audio again. It plugs into the upper side of the camera. So I know I can't afford to have no audio, so I didn't use it. I'm trying to now get to the bottom of it. And I have to remind myself, and I have to get in the habit of every time I turn the camera on to do video, check to be sure the sound level is dancing, and then we're good. Because when you plug an external mic into the external mic port, it disconnects the internal mic. So if the external mic that's plugged in, which has disabled the internal mic, the external mic is not working, you don't have any audio at all. This is about 5 minutes later. Insley I went and looked around for her. She was down there. I could hear her foraging, rummaging after obviously red squirrels, gray squirrels, chipmunks. And then I heard her right by this leaning dead tree. Came up here and looked at her, watched her. She was staring off into the netherland. Okay, so I got about doing suddenly. I heard partridge flushing, and off she ran. She'd been watching it. She heard it. She sensed it was there. My God, she's good. All right, I'm going to try to move some of these. Well, ultimately, I'm trying to get this leaning oak tree to spring back up, which it's not going to do. But at the very least, I want to get the branches and odds and ends that are holding it in place down here, so that when spring comes along next year, it'll be able to begin to grow upward and soar. Well, that didn't do it. Hell bent for election. That's what Trump is. I can just see this thing tipping over on me. This birch that I'm pulling on out of there is about the last, well, is the last birch I harvested on this property. There's a limb attached to this. But I think it could be holding up that dead tree, the leaner. So before I take that limb out of there, well, I got to cut it at the base. It's still attached. It's got a lot of pressure against that dead tree. So if I'm going to do that today, I don't think I need to. I'd have to get Insley the hell out of there and sit way back. I decided 3 days ago that I am not going to turn the radio on anymore. With all of the horrible, terrible crises we've got going on in this world, Ukraine versus Soviet Union, or Putin, and the possibility of Third World War with nuclear weapons, and then we've got Gaza, and Israel is being extraordinarily cruel. And the U.S. is supporting them, Israel. Why are we doing that? We need to cut off. Just, no, you don't behave this way in this world, Israel. Climate change that I'm hearing every day, record-setting highs, heat-wise. Drought now, widespread around Minnesota, all of Minnesota, after a drenching washout earlier summer. And I just keep hearing terror. Every day, all day long. And I can't take it. I don't need this. It's destructive to my mood, to my viscera. It's killing me. And I haven't heard what's going on in the world now for 3 days. I don't miss it. I'm healing. A mosquito. That's the kind of terror I'm able to cope with. Just barely. I feel sort of bad about taking this birch tree down. The trail that takes off from to Summit Ridge goes right through here, and it was always a very flat, pleasant place with this big birch towering and shading. It's sort of sad that I had to take it out because it turns out I didn't really need it. The oak tree is free, as you saw. Its bounciness is there. But like I have thought and expected, it will not probably rise, even in the spring. I think it's going to be a leaner the rest of its life, if it survives. Well, it'll be interesting to watch over the next couple years. can hear that. Active shooter has a rooster. I sort of like that. It's the first thing he's done that I can say I kind of like it. Maybe he's using them for target practice. That's probably it. There. Well, you know, I was talking about the radio, leaving the radio off. And I've always enjoyed getting up as early as I do. And it's a very peaceful time. And now, leaving the radio off, I didn't usually turn it on until 5:45 for some reason. I have to have everything set. I have to have a procedure, a process, a routine. 5:45 I'd turn the radio on. Now I haven't been, and my peaceful time just continues right on until 7 o'clock when I get up and go feed Insley. Then we come out and we walk up to the power lines and around through the north trail on the south field. It's about a 10-minute walk. Where was I going with that discussion? I guess that was the end of the point. There wasn't much of a point there, was there? Oh, the ladybugs are here. Where do they go all the rest of the year when they're not swarming the house in late September? Where are they? There's millions of them swarming the house usually every fall. I have yet to see what it's going to do this year, but there have been hundreds. Where are they in June and May? I did suddenly think this afternoon, oh, I should go look at the north side of the house, because that's where apparently they were coming in last year. You remember last year, and I went in the basement, and underneath the rafters, up around the perimeter of the foundation, oh my God, there were thousands there. And then I concluded they must be coming in somewhere on the north. I had never assumed that they were coming in on the north, because on warm fall days they congregate around the southwest corner of the house where the sun is and it's warm, and that's where they are. Well, they're congregating on the north side of the house, where I found them this afternoon. Worse than anywhere else on the house. So I got the permethrin pumper out, sprayed the perimeter of the house again. I think I was misled on that permethrin insecticide. I was led to believe by the lady in Ace that it's a deterrent. No, I think it says on the bottle it kills Asian beetles and ladybugs. Well, I don't really need to kill them. Just want to keep them off the house so they don't find entrances into the house. So I don't know how much of a deterrent it is. I have foamed the perimeter of the foundation. So I've done what I can do, and I've found 8 or 10 ladybugs in the house so far this year. Where they're coming in, I have no idea, but I have to go along with the assumption that they're coming in with the same way the flies are. I open the door and they fly in.
And I found one on my lampshade last night. I heard it. Vroom. Tuck is a better word. Sound for that. They land on the lampshade.
Come on, you have standards.